like for instance, not having a variable aperture, is to control the light. So two things I do a lot is I'll have a little tiny French flag from Dinkum Systems that clips into that hot shoe and can shield the lens from glare. And probably the number one way to increase your image quality is get the sun from shining directly into your lens that is just exposed to the elements here. And then the second would be to use a little bit of variable ND, maybe in hopes of chasing something somewhat close to 180-degree virtual shutter angle.
So
that comes to color management. Oh, go ahead, Courtney.
I was just going to say, although you don't have an aperture in there, so it doesn't change your depth of field necessarily, but it does changes your motion blur because it changes the timing of the capture by adding the ND. It gives you a longer capture time, which gives you a little more motion blur in the background. But they do the computational, although I don't like that at all. I assume you never turn on the computational portrait mode, where it blurs the background, to give you the fake bokeh.
Only for myself when I'm on this show.
Yeah, you have it on now.
I mean, that's one that I'm constantly testing with to see if it's hit the point where it's good enough. I think it's still a bit distracting. I'm not, morally opposed to it, but I think it's,
you'd be better off applying it in post where you have a lot more control.
Possibly, yeah. Or just embracing what you're doing. I think, Citizen Kane was shot at f11 to maximize deep focus. Maybe we've just lived in a world of fetishizing shallow depth of field for a little too long, and it's time to try out a new aesthetic.
There is that, yes.
I think that maybe Apple.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that maybe Apple has applied that in a shot or two in their films. There's a couple of films that were made in China. I can't verify it, but there's some shots, some close-ups that I'm looking at it, and I think they've been playing around. I really would love to talk to one of their cinematographers, someone who's, behind the scenes. I'm hoping to find some people like that to interview in the future.
They had that portrait view where it can transfer to the next face. It sort of pushes focus and pulls focus. Anybody try that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what Courtney was talking about. And I mean, it's kind of amazing and also a bit frustrating to work with as you're shooting, because as you transfer the focus from one face to the next, it will also redo the exposure. There may be a way to lock that now. I haven't tried it recently, but I did shoot some tests with the early version of it, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised at the quality. And then I tried racking focus by tapping the screen, and my exposure changed, and I kind of stopped trying after that.
When it gets annoying, then you stop doing it. Yes. Yeah. I think about file management and getting stuff from the phone to your NLEs and other processes. Do you find you have to color it much, or does it come out pretty accurate?
I mean, for me, the fun of shooting with the phone is to shoot log and color it afterwards. And so I'm looking at it as an exercise in collaboration between post-production and on-set experience. So I'm excited to color it. I have to control myself and not overdo it. But I think in the case of one of the videos that I posted about the follow-up video I posted from my Taiwan trip, I posted some tutorials where I walked through kind of how I color graded it. And it's kind of I was taking a lot from my still photography experience. So basically, shoot, run and gun, and then lovingly spend time in, whether it's Lightroom or whatever, to bring out the most from the negative, right? And so the fact that we can do that now in motion is, almost entirely made possible thanks to shooting in log, and that part is just too fun for me to say no.
Our question system includes participant chat, which is a live commentary on what people are hearing from our guests and their also about their questions. If you're not in Mukana, it's easy to sign up for it at officehours.global/join. And also you can volunteer at Office Hours to learn even more about participating in the show and being in the chat area. I'm going to move to questions in a moment, but I think Stu brought something mentioning the Peru thing. I thought you brought some video you can show us?
Yeah, I believe that video is available if we want to take a look at it.
All right. I'll ask for a moment to queue it up, and then we'll have a short look at that. Okay. There's some dramatic changes there. Okay. From log to LUT. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. You find the sky burns in a lot?
Yeah, I was finding myself wanting to, the lighting in Lima is very soft and diffuse, like kind of Parisian kind of lighting. So there wasn't much to bring back there. This is Taiwan now, so this is just a month or two later after I learned a little bit more about how to shoot with the phone. But this is still the iPhone 15 Pro, and there was actually a question that had come in about shots that that are made possible by the phone being so tiny. And this one that I keep cutting back to under the overpass here, if you can believe it, I'm in a sort of limousine type car there that has a little tiny sunroof with just a little flap that opened up maybe 1.5 inches. And I wedged the phone into there and shot that shot. And I loved the shot so much that it became the sort of editorial anchor point for this little travelogue video that I shot. I keep cutting back to it. The lighting kept changing. This is shot with the native iPhone camera app, nothing special, wide angle lens, jammed through a barely open roof of a car that I found myself in, and it turned into my favorite shot of the trip.
We get a lot of natural stuff when people aren't paying attention. They don't notice you with your camera. You've just got a phone, and you're able to get stuff from that view and get closer to people even without having to interrupt what they're doing and get a more natural performance from them.
Yeah, I mean, on this trip, I absolutely had a pretty hefty, Sony DSLR with me that I was shooting stills with as well, and that absolutely draws a lot more attention than just pulling out a phone and shooting footage. No one blinked an eye at anything I was doing with the phone.
Is that something you tell people, Bill, is that it's really good for almost surreptitious recordings, but also that it doesn't intrude on what's going on?
Well, I've noticed myself with documentaries, I find I'm getting much better content just with the fact I'm putting a small phone up on a tripod and then just asking questions. People very quickly forget that they just feel that we're having a conversation. They really quickly forget the fact that we're filming.
Well, let's move to the questions. Is that all right with everybody? We're ready for that? You got something else, Stu?
No, that's great. Thank you.
All right. Well, Cindy, what's our first question?
Our first question today is from Guy Cochran in Seattle, Washington. With the idea to get the most image information for post-processing, do you recommend using the normal iPhone camera app, Blackmagic camera app, or something else?
Any takers on that question?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that one. I would say that so if you want to shoot with the native camera app, and there are reasons that you might, the built-in Apple camera app, first of all, familiarity and comfort, right? If that's what you're used to shooting with your phone, it's right there. If you enable ProRes recording and log shooting, then those options become available to you when you're in video mode. You can turn them on and off. And you will get the same quality that you're going to get from any of the other applications, right? You're going to get ProRes, you're going to get log. But you're also going to get automatic exposure, automatic white balancing. Some of that you can turn off, some of that you can control in the ways you might be comfortable with. But if that stuff starts to frustrate you, you can move to the Blackmagic camera app, which offers full manual control almost exclusively, to the point where you might open it and spend quite a bit of time fiddling with it before you start getting
What you came for. Yeah. Courtney, do you want to
bring
jump
to
in
people's
here?
attention. One is the Final Cut camera app, which is from Apple. It's free, and it offers just a little bit more professional control, but still in that kind of typical Apple, everything is made very easy for you workflow. And another is a third-party app called Kino, Kino. And that is really kind of designed for folks who want a one-tap shooting solution, but getting the best quality. And it ships with some nice LUTs from some, popular kind of YouTube cinematography folks that you might have heard of. It can either bake those LUTs into the footage or not. But what I really like about it is that by default, when you're shooting in log, you hit go, it locks the exposure and the white balance. So at that point, your shot is consistent, and you won't spend any time in the grade trying to fix what the camera did. You can just focus on making it look good.
More manual, less automatic. Courtney.
There's also a new application that's going to allow you to shoot open gate,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
and that'll
Yeah,
allow you to, sorry.
I was just going to have one question that I had, because we haven't really talked about it, is resolution. Are you guys shooting mostly in 4K or in 1080p 60, or what frame rate? What resolution are you shooting? If you're, especially if you're shooting the ProRes RAW, you're going to be burning up a lot of disk space, and so I guess you're using an external hard drive to store that.
We'll start with Bill on that.
So it's not so much, my shooting is really quite limited, but I'm teaching people who are they may just shoot a commercial or shoot something that's very short and only shoot 30 seconds, or that's what they're looking for. There's a new, to show. I've just been sent this new hard drive, or SSD drive, I should say. It's that small, and that's 1 terabyte.
Wow.
So this can be, can fit anywhere. And
Just USB-C connection on the
USB-C, yeah. And just you can do it just this way and snap it on the back. And so I've been testing this out. I've just got it a couple of days ago, but I've been I've been recording it a full resolution RAW HD, 4K I should say, and I've run it maybe 4 or 5 times, and it's never kicked out. I'm going to keep on experimenting before I talk about it, but it's amazing. I'm very impressed.
And Stu?
Yeah, I do think it is worth carefully considering whether you really need to be shooting ProRes. I did a bunch of testing with that. That was something when log was first introduced on the iPhone, it was linked with the ProRes shooting mode. You had to be in ProRes to shoot log, but they later relaxed that, and they allow you to shoot HEVC 10-bit log. So it's compressed, but log, and with enough bit depth to hold the data. And I almost exclusively shoot that way now. Again, because I'm shooting this footage not to try to maximize image quality, but to maximize the accessibility factor. And so a smaller file size adds to that. If you are going to shoot ProRes, I do recommend shooting to an external drive for all kinds of reasons, but certainly the ease of just plugging it in via USB-C to your Mac later and transferring it, that's a huge part of it. I would shoot ProRes if I was going to do something very color sensitive, something that involved VFX, something that involved keying, if I wanted that extra bit of color fidelity. Otherwise, I would probably be fine with HEVC, but I would always shoot 4K. And I am a fan of shooting at 24 frames per second because I'm trying to make stuff look like movies.
Yeah. I found when I first started shooting 4K, it would heat up my camera. I had a
Oh yeah.
16, no, 16,
Burn through
no,
the batteries. Yeah.
13. Yeah, well, it does do that too, and you got to be cautious. Yes. Courtney, you had something else?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is the ProRes a raw HQ, the 12-bit version, that's only available on the 17 Pro, right? The latest
I think
and
so.
greatest, the latest and greatest processor in there. I think.
Yeah, and that gets into those specialized apps that Bill was talking about that can shoot
Yeah,
open
like
gate that
Magic.
are
Right.
so yeah, there is this new ability to kind of shoot ProRes RAW. That that exceeds my appetite for trying to squeeze quality out of my telephone, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, let's move to the next question.
There's one from John Idelson in Monterey, California. Have you seen the work of John Woody, an early iPhone film creator? A Year in the Pit, a journey into music photography. It's a feature-length documentary directed, edited, and produced by John M. Woody, a 1-hour documentary filmed with an iPhone 11.
Wow. Well, I haven't had a chance to look at that myself. Have either any of you seen it? No?
I haven't had.
Well, there may be a link in the chat for those who are watching in the chat and commenting there. And maybe later, all of us will have a peek at it. No hands up on that, so let's have another question. Next one.
Next question is from Tony Mobley in Noonan. What are the best recommendations for software and settings for 2-year-old or newer iPhone for a non-professional?
Well, I think the existing software that comes with the phone is adequate for that phone. And I don't think you can enhance what the phone can do without, by adding software. You can add more control to something you're doing, but you won't actually change the quality of the resolution or either the lenses or any exposure values or even what formats you're in. So you might find you can't shoot some things because you have an older phone. I know I have an older phone, and so I can't shoot some of these raw files. But when you do shooting and you have the capabilities in your phone, it's going to come out the same. So I don't think there's a recommendation for any software or other settings other than what we've been talking about here about having another app control all of those elements in the phone. We'll move to the next question.
This one is from, which one is it? I don't know which one it is. I think we have
Cochran.
Guy Cochran. Okay. This is from Guy Cochran in Seattle, Washington. Stu, if you were to rewrite your fantastic DV Rebels Guide book with a modern twist for iPhone, how would it now differ?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for mentioning my now many years old book. And yeah, I think it's a very valid question. How would it change? That book was published in 2007, which is, I'm not good at math, but I think is 1,000 years ago. And the idea of shooting in HD was just starting to cross people's minds in 2007. And so I think what has changed now is that your phone shoots 4K, shoots 10-bit log in a wide color gamut that can be color graded. And so whatever I talked about in the book about trying to kind of defeat the consumer nature of the camcorder that you bought, at the same electronics store where maybe you bought your washing machine, well, that's out the door. I mean, cameras are solved, and that's, I think, something we don't say out loud enough. But cameras are solved. Cameras are not the problem. Luckily, I didn't spend a lot of time in the book talking about cameras. I spent a lot of time talking about production methodologies, about artfully incorporating post-production into your shooting plan. And so to a lot of folks, they've been kind enough to kind of to characterize the book as being somewhat evergreen in that regard. But man, I mean, every sample bit of footage in that book is what is it? You know, I mean, 480p, right? So
Yeah.
how far we've come, right? And yet I think the problems that face the kind of indie filmmaker really are much more about what you put in front of and behind the camera and not what the camera itself is.
Mhm. I was shooting, I'll show you, with one of these in 2007,
Yeah.
a 35-pound, $65,000 camera, beautiful glass, great picture, 480. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing. Yeah.
right.
so I didn't make the transition to HD until about 2013.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're talking ancient history as we speak. Next question, please. You're muted there.
You're muted, Cindy.
Am I? Oh, okay. Well, what a day this is. Next up, we have Paul Kovacs in Elkhart, Indiana, asking, with Apple putting a lot of things into the iPhone for professionals, it seems like they're putting equally less updates into their Final Cut Pro editing software for the professional. Seems unbalanced. Thoughts?
Well, for me, I don't think that's actually happening the same way you're describing. I think Final Cut gets updates, and it gets format updates and feature updates on a fairly slow path. I don't, I mean, I'm a big user. Final Cut is my edit tool, but I don't find that I'm gasping for something that somebody else can do. I'm just waiting for it to be part of what they want to do. So they brought in 3D editing, they brought in immersive editing. They keep adding things to it. So I don't know if the iPhone professionals, as you kind of put it here, are really that concerned about whether Final Cut can do the job with what the cameras can do. I think they are about parallel most of the time, but I'm ready to hear Courtney tell me otherwise.
Well, you got to realize too, also that Apple has been doing a lot of deals with Blackmagic Design, because they were the ones that called, asked Blackmagic Design to, create that camera interface to do gen lock so that they could use two iPhones as a stunt for doing, stuff in
Multicam
Vision
stuff.
Pro, do capture in stereo. And to do that, you have to synchronize the shutters between two iPhones that are put head to head like this in some type of gimbal rig and so on. So, and supporting the new immersive camera that has come out from Blackmagic. So, they're putting a lot of the support for the stereo immersive video into DaVinci Resolve. So they haven't really put a lot of that stuff, a lot of that effort into Final Cut Pro, I think, for updating that. So I think that's why a lot of concentration on the higher end of capture with the iPhone has been going into other programs for specific situations like the Vision Pro.
This program is supported by many of the volunteers who give us their time, but it's also a nonprofit organization. So if you'd like to make a contribution to what we do here at Office Hours, you can go to officehours.global/donate on the web and see what you can do for us there. We'll go to the next question.
Tony Mobley in Noonan is asking, which is the best between Blackmagic Design camera app and Final Cut Pro camera app? Or is there something else?
Stu, you want to take that one up?
Yeah, I mean, I think I listed off my kind of hierarchy of camera apps, right, from easy to fussy, and with the native camera app being at one end and Blackmagic being at the other. And I find myself really often reaching for Kino in between, and also the Final Cut camera app. I would say just is one thing that got me back reaching for the native iPhone camera app, just the plain Jane simple version, which is that it's the only one of the bunch that lets you tap the different focal lengths to do sort of a snap zoom, right? And again, I don't know, is that a cinematography style that you want to embrace, I found myself being happy to have it, or being able to gradually ramp the zoom between preset focal lengths. And that is something that only the native camera app offers. So it really isn't, I think, at this point, a question of what's best. Dave, like you said, they all produce the same files. So it's just a question of what experience you want when you're shooting. And I think that is just something I'll keep coming back to over and over again, is that the technology of cameras is no longer the issue, right? It's just what experience do we want when we're shooting? How big the rig, and where are the buttons,
And how it goes with the craft. We haven't lost the craft. It's still the same craft.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I wung in that French flag over a phone and showed someone the difference in image quality of just shielding the lens from the sun, that's like, I mean, that barely counts as craft, but that is a mistake that you only make once, And
then you go with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try another question.
This one is from Josh Kaufman in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Which shots, movements, or candid filming situations become possible because an iPhone is small enough to place, hold, or operate where a larger camera would not work?
Stu, let's jump in there and I'll follow up.
Yeah, I mean, I think I snuck an answer in early for this one with my, sticking it out of a car window. But there was another case there's a brief shot in that Taiwan video of Taipei 101, and that's another case where I was in the upper floor of an apartment building, and the windows would open, but only 6 inches or so. And one of my favorite things on this little rig here is this lanyard. I don't know how well you can see that, but this phone has a lanyard. And so I held onto the lanyard and stuffed it out the window and held it as steady as I could. And I got a really beautiful shot of Taipei 101 that no real camera would have been able to get because it would not have fit through the gap.
And you're not going to drop it off the Eiffel Tower either, so that's
not with it tethered to my hand. Like
your wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think some of the shooting I did for some of my clients, I would use both my full camera, and then I'd have my gimbal and my iPhone with me. And when I needed to just sort of sneak around and follow people doing their job, or go into a factory and shoot people doing whatever they're doing, it allowed me to sort of sneak up on people, and they wouldn't even be aware that I'm shooting them. And I think in some ways it's a more friendly environment, a thing where people are just doing what they're doing, and they're not going to stop and go, "What are you doing? What are you trying to do?" And this kind of stuff can really ruin a documentary if you're sneaking up on somebody doing something really interesting, making food or whatever it is. So, Courtney?
Yeah, it also comes in handy for stealing shots. I think there have been a couple of feature films that have shot scenes on the iPhone. For example, the Florida Project, as I recall, the last scene of that takes place in Disney World and the Magic Kingdom. And of course, getting permission to shoot in the Magic Kingdom for a real film is almost impossible if it's not a Disney film. And so they just stole the footage because they look like every other tourist shooting video on an iPhone. And they shot it on an iPhone, the last two scenes in that movie. And so they blended in with all the tourists, and Disney didn't know what hit them until the movie came out. So, it comes in situations like that. I think if you're shooting a documentary in a country which frowns on, wants to control the agenda and control the, information that is released. If you're shooting, especially behind the scenes or something that they don't necessarily want shot, you can be a lot more clandestine with a phone than you are with a full rig that is in a gimbal or sitting on your shoulder, or have a sound mixer with a boom pole and a bag around his shoulder. Yeah. So it allows you to steal a lot of stuff and get away with. It also is less intimidating for people. You're not putting a big camera lens in someone's face, and I think
Bill shoots a lot of
documentarians
documentaries.
Here have discovered that as well.
Yeah.
It's less intimidating.
Bill shot a lot of documentaries. What was your experience?
Well, this is my rig that I normally use. It's so I've put just a regular camera strap around it, and now I just carry it around my neck. But what's great about it is that I can do pans I can.
I
can
love
watch
that it's
it come down.
horizontal and you never put it in vertical.
So I did a shot a couple of weeks ago just on the metro, the subway here in Montreal. I mean, everyone's got their phone out, but I was shooting for a little film I'm making myself. So I just sat there and I was able to get great moves just like this. And when I came back, I couldn't believe how smooth it is. I've also done dance videos where I've been sitting right in the audience, again, just following the action, just like this, without everyone knowing what I'm doing. I also am doing things like I'm building a little hood matte box
Oh,
for my camera, so I'm able to put.
Oh, we're going to talk filters probably here.
Oh, yeah, you build as well. So I won't show you my prototype, but there's these small filters that you can buy. They're plastic, but it's split focus. Here's one here. So with a little matte box, I'm able to keep the light off the lens, but also I can start shooting with doing these kinds of things. The same things I used to do typically.
With a larger camera, yeah.
But grads, do you have to put those
Grads, yeah.
further away from the lens then, I guess?
Yes, well, that's why I'm experimenting with a little matte box that fits. That just fits. It works. It's just the matte box just brings it out a little further.
Yeah, and that 85 grad is good for taking down a sky and
Exactly.
allowing you to
Exactly.
see the clouds and then out without losing the detail of the beautiful sky there. Yeah, it's great.
And the other thing that I'm doing is I used to work out of a van when I was shooting, and now I don't use a van anymore. This is what I fly with, a little box like this, which it's got wheels. I can stand on it, I can sit on it, and everything I own, whether it be the grip department, lighting, everything fits into this. My lights have changed. These are the lights I'm using. Sorry, just take me a second to get it going.
Is it Pavo too, or is it
So
Yeah.
this inflates. It comes when I travel, it's in a little box like this.
It rolls right up.
And then this becomes, a basher or key fill a couple of these and I'm lit. This lasts about an hour and a half. And I can change color temperature. I'm also
That's
using
terrific.
my tripod's changed. Again, this fits in that little case I showed you. So everything folds up down into about this length. And it also acts as a selfie stick, but I can turn this into 12-foot selfie stick. So the shots can be really, really high, and then I can bring them down. It's also great. I've done a lot of shooting for documentaries over there. I think I worked about 4 years on a series called Popular Mechanics for Kids, where I used to, I might be on a nuclear submarine, or I might be on an aircraft carrier, and you're wanting to put your camera all over the place, maybe clamp it onto a roller coaster. But something like this allows you, for example, there's a bicycle film that I shot that I was shooting out the door, taking the opening the doors, side doors on the van. But now with something like this, and you can put your iPhone right on the end, and then on the van you could stick it for the bicycle. You can go right up close to the cyclist, and then go down to the
right in front of them.
to the wheel, back up, and then come back right back into the van again.
Yeah.
So there's I've also bought small rigs so I can suction cups that I can mount them on cars. So I'm mounting. I'm going crazy. Everything I used to do, it's so much easier now, and everything is smaller.
You don't have to
Oh,
accommodate big weights and everything. And
I was going to ask
Exactly.
both